years ago, I tried an experiment with straw bale gardening, and it was not successful. When I planted seeds or plants in the bales, they would live for maybe 2 weeks and then they just died. And no matter what I seemed to do, they just did not produce. And this here is what I have left over from a couple of years ago. What I'm going to do is put some decayed organic matter here from the leaf site, and then I'm going to plant some onions here. See if that won't work. I bought these onion sets at Piggly Wiggly for $1.69 a pound, and I actually counted them out. I think there's 50 of them in there. So we'll plant as many as I can here, about 4 inches apart, and then any other ones I'll plant someplace else. I was able to pick through them because they were bulk. Found what I thought were the best ones available. Well, I guess I should have bought some more. I got a little bit more room here, so I think next time I stop at Piggly Wiggly, I'll pick up a few more. Well, let's pack them in now. These are some red onions that overwintered. I planted them in straw that had broken down last year, and this is what I have coming back. They weren't mature enough to harvest last fall, so I just planted them this way. They look like they're doing pretty well. And I have some more over here, and they're looking pretty good too. I also transplanted some plants late afternoon yesterday. We have kohlrabi in here, and they're planted right next to the seeded kohlrabi. Right here I have a cabbage plant. It looks like it's a purple one. And I have 3 broccoli planted next to it right here. And I do have broccoli planted as seed as well. And in my hugelkultur bed, I planted 2 muskmelon plants. And these are Pride of Wisconsin. They're a plant that was developed many years ago, and they were commonly grown by commercial growers. And I planted those, as I said, in my hugelkultur here. I'm now down by my lower garden, and this is where I planted some of my vines. These are slicing cucumbers. There's 2 of them in here. I'll probably plant some seeds there next to them. And here I have quite a number of pickling cucumbers. Might have to thin these out, but these I started like the other plants in my cold frame. These are a sugar pumpkin for making pies and pumpkin bread. Here I have cantaloupe, and these are a hybrid. And here we have sugar baby watermelon. I might have to thin these out too. It looks like we have 6 plants growing. Or if I get more than I can use, I can take them to a food pantry. Here I have early growth tomatoes that I grew in my cold frame. I'm going to transplant them down here in my lower garden. And we have our early growth planted. I'm now planting my sweet corn. It's a variety called Bodacious. It's a yellow corn, and I haven't found one that tastes any better. I used to grow corn to sell at stands, other things too, you know, tomatoes and peppers and all the rest of that stuff. And I used to sell candy corn when I first started. And it sold okay. But I had one customer who ate quite a bit of corn, and the first crop that came in that year was candy corn. He bought that and he liked it. But then the Bodacious came in, and he bought that. He bought a dozen one day, came back the next day and bought another dozen. He liked it so much. So I've been planting Bodacious as often as I can, being able to find it. Young's has it now, so I got it from there, where I used to get it from Gurney's when I first started getting it. Now the corn, of course, has to be planted in a block, not long, thin rows. It needs to cross-pollinate, pollinate from one plant to another. So it has to be planted in a block rather than long lines, so you get the wind blowing and get the correct pollination so that they get the decent kernels per ear. So I'm going to plant about 10 seeds in each of these little rows here, and I'm going to plant, I think, 4 rows. And then this is my first planting, and then after these are up well, then I'll plant another one. I count out the seeds and got half for this first planting, and then I'll have another half for the next planting. I have another variety of tomato that really did well in the cold frame. It's a variety that's used for cooking. It's a meaty tomato, and traditionally it's been used by the Italians for making spaghetti sauce or other kinds of tomato sauce. The variety is Roma. I'm up on the upper garden again. This is my hugelkultur bed. And I'm going to put one plant in here each. All right, there we have five in the hugelkultur bed. They look like they're doing really well. Give them a drink of water here pretty quick. Okay, now I'm planting green beans. Might be a little bit early for it, but hopefully it'll warm up some here. At least according to the forecast, it's supposed to. This is a green bean variety called Derby, and this is something that I bought at Jung's. All right, good. Now to give them a drink of water. It is clouding up and looking more like rain, but I'm not sure it's going to, so I'm going to water them. Okay, it is May 15th, and we are at the Juneau Community Gardens with
Marianne Zastro.
And you're in charge of these gardens, Marianne?
Yeah, I'm the manager.
You're the manager. It sounds like you're in charge then. So what's the deal with these gardens?
Well, I started them in 2013, and I advertised for people to rent a garden here. This lot is in full sunshine, and it's a good place to grow. The city it was willing to mow the lawn here and to furnish the compost that we fill the raised beds with. So
And this is city property?
this is actually DNR property.
Oh, okay.
They own the parking lot next to the trail, and they also own this lot, but they assure me that they're not going to sell it right now.
Okay.
So the first year we started out with just the first two gardens, and we had a compost bin here, but it didn't work out too well with just two people putting stuff in, and besides I had my own compost bin at home. So, and every year it's been growing. We've been building more beds each year. And I had hoped with being kind of connected to Blue Zones that we would have a big super duper building party this year, but we're building one, and that's good.
So how many total do we have here now?
We have 9 beds now.
How many are rented out right now?
9.
Oh.
Yep, all 9 are paid for.
And they're different sizes?
These are all 5 foot wide by 20 foot long.
Okay.
They did have the option of renting one that was 15 foot long and a little bit cheaper, but everyone has gone for the longer one.
Okay. And the city fills these with compost that they compost at the leaf site. Is this correct?
Right.
All right. And do they renew these every year then with compost?
Yes. Well, no. They will bring some compost down if it settles, and they'll dump it on the parking lot over there, and then we'll just move it to the garden as we need it.
And has that been done this year?
Not this year yet, but I'm going to ask them to bring a small pile when they deliver the one for this new bed.
All right. And are the all city residents that have rented these gardens?
No, actually the newest garden is rented by one of our city employees, and his wife teaches at Dodgeland School, so the Hayden family from Horicon.
Oh.
And actually, this garden right here is rented by the junior master gardeners. So one of the master gardeners is teaching children, and I believe it's homeschooled children how to garden in that one. And the one, garden number 7, is rented by a woman who was working here in Juneau last year, and they moved from Neosho to, no, she might have been living here in Juneau last year, but anyway, they moved to Fox Lake this year, and she didn't want to start a new a new garden in Fox Lake, so she just rented it again.
I think I talked to her at the Dodgeland Blue Zone kickoff, and she mentioned that the place they bought in Fox Lake was very shady, so that she wanted the garden that was here in the full sun.
That's actually why I rented a bed here myself, is because our yard is very shaded, and I've never had really good luck growing there, but wonderful luck here.
And you use this area for garden vegetables?
Yes.
Okay.
And these are all required to be organic gardens. So if we find out that anyone is putting fertilizer on, there's warnings. But we use leaves. In the fall, we work it into the bed when we put it to bed for winter. We use eggshells, just all good stuff. And our compost, I brought several bushel of compost from home here to work into my soil here.
Well, anybody is free to go to the leaf site and find some very good compost there.
Right.
I myself have gotten some and built some beds. As a matter of fact, I just poured some in today. So yeah, there's really no reason to use anything but that compost.
Right. It's good stuff, and then you know what's on your food when you harvest it and eat it at home.
All right. So we got one more bed going in here right now.
Right.
And you got actually concrete blocks you're putting in, aren't you?
Right, we use construction blocks, and the first thing we do is measure the gardens. They have to have at least 5 foot in between so the city lawnmowers can get in between. And then we get appliance cardboard from Paul Appliances in Horicon, and it's pretty amazing because if he has cardboard from 2 side-by-side refrigerator freezers, that's just perfect for our garden here, and we don't have to do too much trimming. But and we made mistakes the first year we built. We did not put cardboard under the construction blocks, and so quack and all kinds of weeds were growing through the construction blocks. So we're getting smarter as we build them.
Yeah. And then you don't even kill the grass or anything underneath. The cardboard will kill that.
Right, it prevents it from growing, and it's doing a good job. I mean, I've had my garden now, this is the 4th year, and I haven't had any problems with grass growing through the cardboard and coming up.
And many of the people who rent these are return renters?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one person who rents 2 gardens. She likes to plant more vine plants, and so she has an extra garden to plant cucumbers and zucchini and more of the vining plants.
So it's growing?
It's growing.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
With the being connected to the blue zones now, each city in the blue zone areas, each of the 4 cities is going to have a vegetable contest. And we're voting. Actually, the 9 people here are the ones who are going to vote what vegetable it is for the city of Juneau. So anyone that lives and grows, they don't have to live in Juneau, but they have to grow on Juneau soil. And so far the contest is tied. So we have to break the tie, but there's a tie between tomatoes and carrots. So I am assuming that one of those is going to win the contest. And we'll tell you all about that later and put flyers out. So one of those vegetables will be the vegetable for the contest, and you will enter the contest and plant your vegetable and grow it and give it tender loving care, and then sometime in fall, late September or October, we'll have you come back here to the community garden, and we will have a judge here, and he will name someone the best grower of that vegetable for Juneau.
Okay, you want to make a plug for the Master Gardeners?
I am a master gardener, and we are going to have learning sessions here once a month at least in the gardens here. If it's a hot, stormy night, we will meet under the park shelter on the tables there, and we'll have some kind of interesting topic to learn about. And we did go to a learning session on straw bale gardening, and one of the gals did buy 2 bales that are going to be delivered here, and she's going to set them actually right on her soil and try growing tomatoes in the straw bales. We found out it's quite a bit of work, and there's some vegetables that don't grow very well in straw, but she's going to try tomatoes. But we were told after you soak it for the bale for about 2 weeks, and then you can plant. And then they told us to put fertilizer in there, and she said, I don't want to put fertilizer in. So she's going to try to find out either by the internet or talk to the instructor and see if she can put compost in there and make it an organic straw bale garden.
Mm-hmm. All right, when do you meet?
I haven't decided yet.
When do the Master Gardeners meet?
The Master Gardeners meet on the 4th Thursday of every month at the administration building here in Juneau at 6:30 p.m. I know there is one meeting that is off-site. We are going to visit a husband and wife in Watertown. They're both members of Master Gardeners, and we're going to go tour their gardens. And we do that every summer. We go off-site for one meeting and see someone else's gardens.
And you usually have monthly programs too, don't you?
Right. And those monthly programs have been filmed, quite a few of them, by Wisconsin Public Television. So if you didn't get to see the session, learning session at the administration building, there's a good possibility that you can watch it on the TV on Wisconsin Public Television.
All right. Any last words?
I think that's all.
All right, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.